who were singing them in the Appalachian, that no one knew around, anywhere in the world really that these songs were still being sung in Appalachia. When the song catchers started going through the Appalachians and collecting songs, they discovered, lo and behold, that these songs from England, the famous songs that were just ballads, were being sung with melodies in the Appalachians. It was very exciting. The movie Songcatcher demonstrates that, tells the story of that. Okay, so basically that's that, and I'm going to sing the first song. Actually, this is the first, or the most well-known of all the child ballads, and it probably was created somewhere in the 1500s, maybe in the 1400s. The first written version of this was 1604, so that's 400 years ago. And it's called Barbary Ellen. It goes like this in my note. 'Twas in the merry month of May, when all gay flowers were blooming, sweet William on his deathbed lay, for love of Barbary Ellen. He sent his servant to the town, to the place where she was dwelling, saying, my master bid ye come to him, if your name be Barbary Ellen. Slowly, slowly she got up, and slowly she drew nigh him. The only words to him did say, young man, I think you're dying. Oh yes, I'm sick and very sick, and death is in me dwelling. No better shall I ever be, if I can't have Barbary Ellen. Don't you remember last Saturday night, when we was in a tavern? You gave a toast to the ladies there, but you slighted Barbary Ellen. Yes, I remember last Saturday night, when we was in a tavern. I gave a toast to the ladies there, but my love to Barbary Ellen. He turned his face unto the wall, and death was in him welling. Goodbye, goodbye to my friends all. Be good to Barbary Ellen. When he lay dead and in his grave, she heard the death bells knelling, and every stroke to her did say, hard-hearted Barbary Ellen. Mother, oh mother, go dig my grave, make it both long and narrow. Sweet William died of love for me, and I will die of sorrow. Father, oh Father, go dig my grave, make it both long and narrow. Sweet William died on yesterday, and I will die tomorrow. Sweet William was buried in the old churchyard. Barbary Ellen was buried beside him. Out of sweet William's heart there grew a rose. Out of Barbary Allen's a briar. They grew and grew in the old churchyard, till they could grow no higher. And there they formed the true lovers' knot, and the rose grew round the briar. Gracias. Gracias todo.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Beautiful. I'm muting myself, but beautiful. Got that in.
Thank you, Teresa.
Well, I got a ballad that sort of complements it in some versions of this song, which is called Fair Margaret and Sweet William. there's you know, there are lovers that sort of meet in death. The basic setup for this song, which the first evidence of this song was in 1611 in a play by Francis Beaumont, who collaborated with Shakespeare on a couple plays, a play called The Night of the Burning Pestle. There was a reference to the poem that is this song, and came to the United States in the early 1800s. Around 1823 is the first time it appeared. And I learned it from Tim O'Brien, who's a mandolin and guitar player from in the, I don't know, North Carolina or someplace. Anyway, it's so the situation is Lady Margaret and Sweet William were lovers, and Lady Margaret looked out one morning and she saw Sweet William with his bridal procession and his new young bride that she didn't know about. And the story, it takes the story from there. So let me just get my key. Lady Margaret was standing in her own room door, a comb in her long yellow hair, when who did she spy but Sweet William and his bride? As to the churchyard they drew near, the day passed away and night coming on. Most of the men were asleep. Lady Margaret appeared, all dressed in white, standing at his bed feet. She said, "How do you like your bed? And how do you like your sheet? How do you like your fair young bride that's lying in your arms asleep?" He said, "Very well do I like my bed. Much better do I like my sheet. But best of all, that fair young girl that's standing at my bed feet." Then once he kissed her lily white hand, twice he kissed her cheek, 3 times he kissed her cold corpsey lips. Then he fell into her arms asleep. Well, the night passed away and the day came on, and into the morning light, Sweet William said, "I'm troubled in my head by the dream that I dreamed last night. Such dreams as these, I'm sure they mean no good. For I dreamed that my bower was full of red swine, and my bride's bed full of blood." He asked, "Is Lady Margaret in her room, or is she out in the hall?" But Lady Margaret lay in a cold black coffin, with her face turned to the wall.
So many parallels, Larry, to
Yeah.
in the words um, to other songs. One I'm going to sing later on. It's very interesting how these lines are borrowed. Okay, so my next song is called "The Wind and the Rain," and this is a child ballad. It's number 10, and this song talks about the wind and the rain, which corrode a woman's body. And this song was also popular in Scandinavia, where a harp made of the bones and hair sings on its own at the marriage of this woman and the miller. There were two sisters of County Clare, oh, the wind and the rain. One was dark and the other was fair, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And they both had a love of the miller's son, oh, the wind and the rain. But he was fond of the fairer one, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her into the river to drown, oh, the wind and the rain, and watched her as she floated down, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And she floated till she came to the miller's pond, oh, the wind and the rain. Dead on the water like a golden swan, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And she came to rest on the riverside, oh, the wind and the rain. And her bones were washed by the rolling tide, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And along the road came the fiddler fair, oh, the wind and the rain, and found her bones just a lying there crying, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So he made a fiddle peg of her long finger bone, oh, the wind and the rain. He made a fiddle peg of her long finger bone, crying, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he strung his fiddle bow with her long yellow hair, oh, the wind and the rain. He strung his fiddle bow with her long yellow hair, crying, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle of her breastbone, oh, the wind and the rain. He made a fiddle of her breastbone, crying, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was, oh, the wind and the rain. The only tune that the fiddle could play was, oh, the dreadful wind and rain.
That's such a haunting song.
Yes. This is a very old song and very popular in the 1600s.
Yeah, I love that song. It's a great one. I have one that also comes from Scandinavia. So it's kind of complementary to this. In this song, the King of Scotland, it's a song from at least the 17th century. The King of Scotland sends a ship to bring his young bride from Norway. And a young man in court tells him that Sir Patrick Spens is the best sailor that ever sailed the sea. So the king sends 24 noble lords to accompany the queen. They travel with their individual feather beds on the boat, right? Sailors aren't happy about the voyage because it's the dead of winter and the roughest seas and storms of the year. They'll be on continual alert just to survive the rough voyage. So it's easy to imagine how they feel about the cargo of noble lords that they're carrying as well. An old sailor tells Sir Patrick that he's seen the new moon with the old moon in his arm, which with these two moons means the tides are going to be at their highest. So here we are in, the deep midwinter with the highest tides of the year. Another bad omen in the song is that the sight of a lady with a comb and a glass in her hands. That's all you need, I think, for a background. King sat in Dunfermline town, drinking of the blood-red wine. Where can I get a good captain to sail this ship of mine? Then up and spoke a sailor boy, sitting at the king's right knee. Sir Patrick Spens is the best captain that ever sailed the sea. The king, he wrote a broad letter, sealed it with his hand, and sent it out to Sir Patrick Spens, walking out on the strand. To Norway, to Norway, to Norway o'er the foam, with all my lords in finery to bring the new bride home. The first line that Sir Patrick read, he gave a weary sigh. The next line that Sir Patrick read, the salt tear blinds his eye. Oh, who was it? Oh, who was it who told the king of me to set us out this time of year to sail across the sea? But rest you well, my good men all, our ship must sail the morn, with 24 noble lords dressed up in silk so fine, with 24 feather beds to lay their heads upon. Away, away, we'll sail away to bring the king's bride home. I fear, my captain dear, I fear we'll come to harm. Last night I saw the new moon clear, the old moon in her arm. Well, be it fair or be it foul, or be it deadly storm, or blow the wind where'er it will, our ship must sail the morn. They hadn't sailed a day, but only one, when loud and boisterous blew the wind and made the good ship moan. They hadn't sailed a day, but only 3, when oh, the waves came o'er the sides and rolled around their knees. They hadn't sailed a league, but only 5, when the anchor broke and the sails were torn and the ship began to rive. They hadn't sailed a league, but only 9, when oh, the waves came over the sides, driving to their chins. Who will climb the topmast high while I take helm in hand? Who will climb the topmast high to see if there be dry land? No shore, my captain dear, I haven't seen dry land, but I have seen a lady fair with a comb and a glass in her hand. Come down, you sailor boy, I think you tarry long. The salt sea's in my coat neck and out at my left arm. Come down, you sailor boy, it's here that we must die. The ship is torn at every side, and now the sea comes in. Loath were those noble lords to wet their high-heeled shoes, but long before the day was o'er, their hats they swam above. And many were the feather beds that fluttered on the foam, and many were those noble lords that never did come home. It's 50 miles from shore to shore and 50 fathom deep. And there lies Sir Good Patrick Spence, and there lies good Sir Patrick Spence, the lords all at his feet. Long, long may his lady look with a lantern in her hand before she sees her Patrick Spence come sailing home again.
Yeah, it was nice, Larry.
Oh, what a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story, and nobody dies either. So.
That's the only one of the child ballads where someone doesn't die.
What do you mean nobody dies?
24 lords died, and Patrick Spence.
And Patrick Spence and everybody on the boat.
Plenty of
that's
people
true.
died in
Who
that.
didn't die?
Everybody dies.
That's a massacre, except the woman who was going to get married.
And it's a good question about the girl. You know, in some versions, they pick up the girl and then they all die on the way back. In some versions, they die before they get there. The tension between the sailors, and in some versions, the tensions between the sailors and the lords really breaks out. The sailors want to throw the lords over even before the storm comes because they're just, you know, too rich for their own good.
Yeah, those feather beds, when they're soggy, can weigh a lot.
Yes, you have experience with that, Mimi, do you?
Somehow I can imagine.
Well, it's good that
Former life.
COVID prevented us from doing a winter vacation in Norway, because it doesn't sound like being on the sea is a good idea. Anyway.
Okay, so this song is called Matty Groves. It's child ballad number 81. And again, the first recorded version of this is in the early 1600s. Traveled from Scotland, where it originated, to America, to the Appalachians. Oh, holiday, oh, holy day, the first day of the year. Little Matty Groves to church did go, some holy words to hear, some holy words to hear. He spied some women dressed in black as they came into view. Lord Arlen's wife was gaily clad, the flower of the few, the flower of the few. And when the meeting it was done, he cast his eyes about, and there he saw Lord Arlen's wife walking in the park, walking in the park. Come home with me, little Matty Groves, come home with me tonight. Come home with me, little Matty Groves, and sleep with me tonight, and sleep with me tonight. Oh, I can't come home, I won't come home and sleep with you tonight. By the rings on your fingers, I can tell you are Lord Arlen's wife, you are Lord Arlen's wife. 'Tis true I am Lord Arlen's wife, Lord Arlen's not at home. He is out to the far cornfields, bringing the yearlings home, bringing the yearlings home. The servant who was standing by and hearing what was said, he saw Lord Arlen, he would know before the sun would set, before the sun would set. And in his hurry to carry the news, he filled his breast and ran. And when he came to the broad mill stream, he took off his shoes and swam, and he took off his shoes and swam. Little Matty Groves, he lay down and took a little sleep. When he awoke, Lord Arlen was a-standing at his feet, a-standing at his feet, saying, how do you like my feather bed, and how do you like my sheets? And how do you like my fair lady who lies in your arms asleep, who lies in your arms asleep? Oh, well, I like your feather bed, and well, I like your sheets, But better I like your lady gay, who lies in my arms asleep, sleep, who lies in my arms asleep. Get up, Lord Arlen cried, get up as quick as you can. It'll never be said in fair England, I slew a naked man, man, I slew a naked man. Oh, I won't get up, I can't get up for my life. For you have two long beaten swords, and I but a pocket knife, and I but a pocket knife. Well, it's true, I have two beaten swords, they cost me deep in the purse. But you will have the better of them, and I will have the worst, and I will have the worst. And you will strike the very first blow, and strike it like a man. And I will strike the very next blow, and I kill you if I can I kill you if I can. So Matty struck the very first blow, he hurt Lord Arlen sore. Lord Arlen struck the very next blow, and Matty struck no more, and Matty struck no more. Then Lord Arlen took his wife, he sat her on his knee, saying, who do you like the best of us, Matty Groves or me, Matty Groves or me? And then spoke up his own dear wife, never heard to speak so free. I'd rather kiss dead Matty's lips than you in your finery, than you in your finery. Then Lord Arlen, he jumped up and loudly he did bawl. He struck his wife right through the heart and pinned her against the wall, and pinned her against the wall. A grave, Lord Arlen cried, to put these lovers in. But bury my lady at the top, for she was of noble kin, for she was of noble kin.
Generous of him after killing her to say, bury her.
Yeah.
These songs are wonderful. I'm enjoying them so much. Thank you, guys. This is beautiful.
There was a kind of a blues sound to that, maybe because it's kind of pentatonic,
Yes, it's pentatonic, and also the music of the Appalachians came from basically the plantations. The black people escaped plantations, went up in the Appalachians, and they taught them a blues scale. And
was the mixture of that and the Celtic influence.
Yes. Before that, they just had the four-part harmony church hymns, basically from England. But as time went on, the blues crept into their music, and actually it was a blues scale, so it was a flatted third and ninth, eighth or seventh,
Sixth.
and there were quarter tones in between. So it was a very strange music that people were hearing when they first heard that Appalachian music. I remember first hearing it on a tape. It was like, whoa, this is wrong. They're singing the wrong notes. It was so weird. But I got to it, got used to it after a while.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on, we got a song here called Willie's Lady. And in the child ballad book, it's number 6. Though I don't think any of you are following. I have a 4-volume version of child ballads. And anyway, there are not a lot of versions of this song out there. It seems to be a Scandinavian song, and by origin, the first time it appears in print was in 1792. And it's a classic mother-in-law song where a young, happily married couple have to contend with the husband's mother, who doesn't like the new wife. And she is, as often in these songs, a crone, a witch who can cast a wicked spell. So they have to deal with the spell as well. I kind of like this song because the husband and wife have to work together in order to overcome this problem. And in the process, they create what we hope will be a solid and good marriage, one that will be good for raising children, which is also a theme in this as well as all the other songs. I know this song from a record called Child Ballads by Anais Mitchell and Jefferson Hamer, one I highly recommend. Anais Mitchell, some of you LA people may know, is the woman who wrote Hadestown, which played recently at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. King Willie, he sailed over the raging foam, and he's wooed. You know what? We're just gonna start this again. King Willie, he's sailed over the raging foam. He's wooed a wife and he's brought her home. He brought her home against his mother's will. His mother wrought her a wicked spell. And a wicked spell she's laid on her. She'd be with child for long and many's the year. But the child she would never bear. And in her bower she lies in pain. King Willie by his bedside he does stand, and down his cheeks sodden tears do run. King Willie, he goes back, King Willie back to his mother he did run, and he is gone there as a begging son. Says my true love has this fine noble steed, the likes of which you have never seen. And at every part of this horse's mane, there's hanging 50 silver bells and 10, hanging 50 bells and 10. This goodly gift shall be your own. Back to my own true love you'll turn again, so she might bear her baby son. Oh, of the child she'll never lighter be, nor from my curse will she e'er be free. But she will die and she will turn to clay, and you will wed with another maid. And sighing says this weary man, as back to his own true love he's gone again. I wish my life was at an end. Back to his mother he did run, and he's gone there as a begging son. He says my true love has this fine golden girdle, set with jewels all about the middle. And at every part of this girdle's hem, there's hanging 50 silver bells and 10, hanging 50 bells and 10. This goodly gift shall be your own, if back to my own true love you'll turn again, so she might bear her baby son. Oh, of the child she'll never lighter be, and of her curse she will ne'er be free. But she will die and she will turn to clay, and you will wed with another maid. And sighing says this weary man, back to his own true love he's gone again. I wish my life was at an end. Then up and spoke his noble queen, and she has told King Willie of a plan, how she might bear her baby son. Says you must go, get you down to the marketplace, and you must buy a ball of wax. You must shape it as a babe that is to nurse, and you must make 2 eyes of glass, and ask your mother to the christening day, and you must stand there as close as you can be, so you might hear what she does say. King Willie, he's gone down to the marketplace, and he's bought a ball of wax, and he has shaped it as a babe that is to nurse, and he's made 2 eyes of glass, and asked his mother to the christening day, and he has stood there as close as he could be, so he could hear what she did say, and how she spat and how she swore. She spied the babe where no babe could be before. She spied the babe where none could be before. Says, who was it who undid the 9 witch knots, braided in amongst this lady's locks? And who was it who the leather shoe untied from the left foot of his wedded bride? And who was it split the silken thread the spider stretched all beneath this lady's bed? The spider stretched all beneath her bed. And it was Willie who undid the 9 witch knots, braided in amongst his lady's locks. And it was Willie who the leather shoe untied from the left foot of his wedded bride. And it was Willie split the silken thread the spider stretched all beneath his lady's bed. The spider stretched all beneath her bed. And she has borne him a baby son. Great are the blessings that be them upon. Great are the blessings them upon.
Oh my gosh. What a tale.
Wow, Larry, that was great.
Song,
Good.
yeah.
I love that story. I love the you know, the spider, you know, stitching the thread under the bed.
Yeah,
That one is
yeah.
just like, whoa, where did that come from?
That's so great. Even though it had 1,000 verses, you kept it moving right along there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so great. The
It was
rhythm of your
very-
guitar playing with that was just perfect.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks.
It was
Well,
just wonderful.
Agreed. Yeah, really, it was really, really good.
fun to
Yeah.
do. All right, what else you got, Mr. Mowers?
Well met, my own too. Okay, so this is called House Carpenter, and it's Child Ballad 243. There'll be a test at the end of the session. It's also called Demon Lover. All these songs had dozens of versions, both melody and words. So this was written by a man named Lawrence Price in 1657, although scholars say that probably he was simply writing down a folk song that he'd heard that, again, had been around for 200 or 300 years, probably. Fairport Convention made a nice recording of this. Well met, my own true love. Well met, cried he. I've just returned from the salt, salt sea, all for the love of thee. I could have married the king's daughter dear, and she would have married me. But I've forsaken her crowns of gold, all for the love of thee. Well, if you could have married the king's daughter dear, I'm sure you are to blame. For I am married to a house carpenter, and find him a nice young man. Oh, will you forsake your house carpenter and go along with me? I'll take you to where the grass grows green on the banks of the salt, salt sea. Well, if I should forsake my house carpenter and go along with thee, what have you got to maintain me on and keep me from poverty? 6 ships out on the sea, and 7 more upon dry land. 110 all brave sailor men will be at your command. She picked up her own little babe, and kisses gave him 3. saying, stay right here with my house carpenter and keep him good company. Then she put on her rich attire, so glorious to behold. And as she trod along her way, she shone like glittering gold. Well, they'd not been gone but about 2 weeks. I'm sure it was not 3 when this fair lady began to weep. She wept most bitterly. Oh, why do you weep, my fair young maid? Do you weep for your golden store? Or do you weep for your house carpenter, who never you shall see anymore? I do not weep for my house carpenter, or for any golden store. I do weep for little babe, who never I shall see anymore. Well, they'd not been gone but about 3 weeks. I'm sure it was not 4. Our gallant ship sprang a leak and sank, never to rise anymore. One time around spun our gallant ship, 2 times around spun she, 3 times around spun our gallant ship, and sank to the bottom of the sea. What hills are those, my love, that rise so fair and high? Those are the hills of heaven, my love, but not for you and I. What hills are those, my love, those hills so dark and low? Those are the hills of hell, my love, where you and I must go.
I must say, after watching the hearings, it's nice to see somebody get their due.
Hi,
Yeah.
Brad. Hey, Brad, it's Chuck.
Yeah, hi, Chuck.
Long time, man.
I know. Good to
Whatever,
see you,
buddy.
man.
Great voice. I love what you could do.
Thank you.
Ah, yes. Ah, yes. I can't remember in the in the version you just sang. Has the guy been to Ireland or no?
No.
Oh, because in some versions he's been to Ireland and then he's come back and got her. And,
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, has he just gone back to Ireland? Are those the hills of hell, or is this somewhere else?
Well, it might have been the Salt Sea.
Yeah, the Salt Sea.
You know,
Yeah.
that description of I'll show you the green stuff and the
Yeah.
salt sea, that reminds me so much of the west coast of Ireland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I
that's what that
totally
is.
saw
Yeah.
that.
Just
Yeah.
doesn't mention it.
Doesn't mention, no, I mean, these songs are masters of, omission and,
Yeah.
leaving empty space for interpreters just to fill in and,
Yeah.
make a story. Well, I have a story a little bit happier than some of the others, called Willie of Winsbury, and number 100 in the child collection. But I think it must have at least come from the 19th century. The attitudes in it seem to be a little too modern for some of the 15th and 16th century songs. Anyway. The king has been a prisoner, and a prisoner long in Spain. And Willie of the Winsbury has lain long with his daughter Jane. What ails you, my daughter Jane? Why you look so pale and wan? Have you had any ill sickness, or yet been sleeping with a man? I have not had any ill sickness, nor yet been sleeping with a man. It is for you, my father dear, for biding so long in Spain. Cast off your robe and gown, stand naked on the stone, that I may know you by your shape, if you be a maiden or none. And she's cast off the robe and gown, stood naked on the stone. Her apron was tight and her waist was round. Her face was pale and wan. And was it with a lord or a gentleman, or a man of wealth and fame? Or was it with one of my serving men, while I was a prisoner in Spain? No, it wasn't with a lord or a gentleman, or a man of wealth and fame. It was with Willie of Winsbury. I could no longer cry alone. And the king has called his serving men by one, by two, and by three, saying, where is this Willie of Winsbury? For hanged he shall be. And when they came before the king, by one, by two, and by three, Willie should have been the first of them, but the last of them was he. And Willie of the Winsbury, all dressed out in red silk, his hair hung like the strands of gold, his breast was white as milk. No wonder, the king he cried, that my daughter's love you did win. If I were a woman, as I am a man, in my own bed you would have been. And will you marry my daughter Jane, by the faith of your right hand? I'll make you the lord of my serving men. I'll make you the heir to my land. Oh yes, I'll marry your daughter Jane, by the faith of my right hand. But I'll not be the lord of any man. I'll not be the heir to your land. And he has raised her up, and he's raised her up on a milk-white steed, himself in a dapple gray. He has made her the lady of as much land as she can ride in a long summer's day.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Great.
What a great story.
I know. It cracks me up every time where he goes, God, if I was a woman, I'd marry you. You'd be my-"
Really, yeah. It's got a gay element in there.
Definitely. The idea about the stone is an interesting one. Playing these songs, there's a number of them where a pregnant girl is is told to take off her clothes and stand on the stone. And apparently the stone has some sort of property for revealing whether the woman is pregnant or not. I couldn't take it any deeper than that. I mean, I don't think it's just presentational, like stand on the stage or something like that. I think there's something about stone that's supposed to, I don't know, call forth some truth.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting.
Well, sort of like the stone that the Scottish kings had to pray before they could become king.
Interesting. Yeah.
I have a question. Is this okay? Am I?
Yeah.
Hey, Linda.
There's a woman in my biography class who just wrote her autobiography of growing up in Appalachia. And she does beautiful stories. And I think she would love to hear all of this. Is there a way that this can be, if it's been recorded, that I would
It's being recorded.
Oh, so I would be able to send her a link or something?
Yes. You'll be able to send her the actual recording.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
the
we'll
link,
talk later.
I'll handle it. I'll give it to you, Teresa. I'm
Wonderful,
the one
thank
that created the YouTube. I'll send you.
Thank you. I bet she'll love it so much.
Just
Her
remind me,
story-
okay, Teresa,
I
send me an
will.
email.
I will. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
This is marvelous. It's so great.
Yeah, but it'll be about a week.
Sure, whenever. That's
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you. I'll lend you her book.
Brad, you want to do one more?
Yeah. I got a sad one and a happy one. I'm going to sing the sad one because the melody's better. So. Three ravens. The song's called Three Ravens. It's also called the Two Corbies. That's an older version. And this is also a very old song, probably 500 or 600 years old. Peter Palmieri recorded a version of this. There were three ravens sat on a tree, down a down, head down a down. They were black as black might be, with a down. One of them said to his mate, "What shall we for our breakfast take?" With a down, derry, 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 down, down, down in yonder green field. Down a down, head down a down, there lies a knight slain under his shield. With a down, his hounds they lie down at his feet. So well they do their master keep. With a down, derry, 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 down, down. His hawks they fly so eagerly, down a down, head down a down. There is no fowl dare nigh him come. With a down, down there comes a fallow doe, as great with young as she might go. With a down, derry, 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 down, down. She lifted up his bloody head, down a down, head down a down, and kissed the wounds that were so red. With a down, she got him up upon her back and carried him to the earthen lake. With a down, derry, 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 down, down. She buried him before the prime, down a down, head down a down, and was dead herself ere Ewan song time. With a down, God send to every gentleman such hawks, such hounds, and such a layman. With a down, derry, 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 down, down.
Hey,
Ah,
fun guys.
Thanks, you both. Thanks, Brad, for being here. Thanks, Larry.
thank you all for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you both. It was great.
This
I
was
love
wonderful.
that
Great to
you
see you guys.
to the songs. That was really nice.
What'd you say, Bill? We didn't hear the first part.
I said it was really nice that you gave introductions to the songs. That was
Yes,
really special.
yeah.
I know. Sometimes I don't quite understand everything in it.
Yes, I don't either.
Sort of get it, you know, and then
Yeah.
what? What did that mean? You know,
Yeah,
All right.
Right.
yeah.
great
It
story.
took years to figure it out.
Okay.
Unmute.
Okay, I'm not alone then.
Everybody unmute and thank Larry and Brad.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank you.
Well done, well done.
Go.
And hello to Francisco.
Hi, Francisco.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yes.
hi Brad, hi Francisco.
Hi, Linda.
Bye.
Hi, Tony. Hi,
Hi,
Gertrude.
Tony.
Hey,
Hi,
Tony.
Janet.
Hi, Abby. Hi, Reverend Jessica.
Mhm.
Hi, everybody.
Francisco.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
That was,
everyone, for
an excellent presentation,
being
guys.
with us.
Great
Zoomers.
to see you guys.
Yeah, that was great.
You too, yeah.
Fun.
I think
Good theme.
this music is, the reflective of, it's very reflective of the hardships of the time.
Yes.
Totally.
That's what kept going through my mind is, that,
Right.
they didn't have any malls or any
Yeah.
television or any,
Yeah.
Yeah.
any of that stuff to escape to. So it was just right in their faces. And
Yeah.
Right.
um,
Nothing to distract them, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Their lives were very, very hard, and these songs were probably the brightest moment of their lives. They sang all the time.
Wow.
So many of them about pregnancy and,
Oh, yeah.
children and stuff, being
Being on the ships,
being
Yeah.
on ships. Yeah.
sailing on the ships.
Yeah.
Betrayals.
From those islands, England, Scotland,
Yeah.
Wales, Scandinavia,
It was the women who brought these songs over from the British Isles to the Appalachians, not the men. So these are the songs that they chose to bring.
I've been reminded too that people often over the years have said that the Irish, Celtic in general, but the Irish were such great storytellers. And it's because of the same reasons that you're bringing out, that some of them became singers and composers, but they just, what else did they have to do at night?
Yeah.
Talk about their lives and what was happening to them.
Right.
And we've lost so much of that in
Mhm.
today's culture that I just find it absolutely beautiful. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Even though it's dark and somber, it's very uplifting. to
Yes.
Oh, good.
That's
I'm
right.
glad.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Gracias,
Many, many
Yeah.
thanks.
Hey,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you.